everyone, my name is Passek, FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we're going to tie a really large lake pattern. It's probably one of the largest patterns I use for in the lakes. It's a really large leech slash bait fish, but it depends on what you want to call it. It's got jungle cock eyes, so that's why I said slash bait fish, but it's a leech pattern. And it's using craft fur, right? This is actually a pillowcase I found at a I think it was a thrift store. So, right, that's all it is. Just a kind of a ugly pillowcase. But it works really well for this. So, okay, it's a large pattern. It takes a little bit of time, so I'm going to get going right away. Going to start off with I'm not, to be honest, this is out of my older stock, so I'm not exactly sure what this hook is. It is a streamer, a Mustad streamer hook. I think it's a 6X, X long. Like I said, this is a large pattern. Sometimes I tie it a little bit smaller, but it makes it's a little bit difficult with this this fur because it's so long. But I mean, you can always chop it, right? So, but without further ado, let's get going. So I'll be using Semperfli NanoSilk in a 12/0 black for the thread. Obviously, you already saw the craft fur that I'll be using for pretty well the whole thing. Then I'll be using a little bit of, where did I put it? It's India cock cape for a collar hackle in a kind of a variegated brown, orange and black. I don't know where I put the bag. Oh, there it is, right there. And badger. And then I'll be using a couple of jungle cock eyes. That's it. That's the whole pattern. So be careful with these jungle cock eyes that I took out. The key to this one is wax, 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 and put some more wax. This this craft fur is amazing how it moves, but it doesn't like staying on the hook if you don't wax. So let's get her started here. Just open wraps. I'm going to go back to about the point of the hook, and then just back just to make sure that's all secured. So first things first, I'm going to find my little bald spot that I've got in this pillowcase, if you want to call that, and just find some fur close to it. I'll cut out a nice batch. I'm going to try to line up the tips as well as I can. There's some really long ones. I just pull them out. The big key to this stuff is hold the tip really tight, the tips, and then you're going to brush out all this under fur. Okay. Get rid of that stuff. It just adds bulk. So I'm just going to do the rest off camera here. It just adds bulk that you don't need because none of the tips are on there, right? It's just a little bit more under fur. So now I want it about the length of the shank past, so about there. Here's my tips too long, so I'll grab my scissors. You want a really good pair of scissors for cutting this stuff. These are braid scissors from Renomed, but any good pair of scissors, just so you can get a big pair of scissors, so you can get a nice cut on them. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to leave about 4 hook eyes, roughly, maybe even a little bit more. And oops, just getting this caught on my finger here. I got a little bit of a hang thing here on my skin, and it keeps catching on that. So do that again. nice and loose wrap and tighten it up. And then I'm just going to go open wraps all the way back, keeping this material on top. Like I said, about to the tip, maybe a little bit further than the tip, and then lift and under, lift and under. Okay. And if there's any stray hairs, just take those off. You know, just pinch them and grab them and take them off. And then I'm just going to go back and tie this rest of this craft fur down to the front here. And then I'm going to come back. And now I'm just going to take my material clip, whatever kind you got, whether it's a stone faux with a pédillon or whatever. So that's the widest stone faux. And this is just a kitchen magnet clip for on your fridge for holding recipes and stuff. But you see how much wider that is? So I'm going to use this one. I really like the stone faux ones, but this it does matter. You want a little bit of length here. So now I'm just going to go to that spot where I've been working on this pillowcase. I grab a nice big chunk out of here. I'm going to, same process, just going to pull out all that under fur. Right, all that under fur. You can keep that for dubbing. Again, all that under fur out of there. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just nip these tips, these butts straight. Okay, then it's hard, I'm not going to be able to see it, but I'll show you guys when I'm done. On my tying bench here, I'm actually taking this little pack of hair and I'm spreading it out so I can put it into a dubbing loop. So this is going to be just spread out nicely here. And then I'll add that to my material clip. There we go. So I'm just going to, I push down on the tips of it and that lifts, like on my table, and that lifts the butt end up. And when it does that, I can slide my material clip under it. And there we go. Okay. So now I'm going to, remember what I said, key here is wax. Wax, wax, wax. So make myself a nice little dubbing loop. Go back, around it, back over it. Then I'm going to come about halfway because that's all I'll get out of this. Put my dubbing spinner on. I'll put my craft fur in. Let it go. And then you see how much of that's sticking to the wrong side. So now I'm just going to push that just so the butts are catching. Okay, and then give her a really good spin on my dubbing spinner. And let it go, and let that take up the spin again and again. It's going to look kind of ugly at first. See, it kind of looks like just a ratty ball. But then I take my brush and just brush all those fibers out. They're all caught by the butts, right? So that's what you'll end up with. It's a really fluffy package. So now I'm just gonna a couple of wraps just to get to it, and then I'm hold it back, hold it back, hold it back. And I'm not quite doing touching wraps. I'm fairly open wraps. Like they are touching, but barely. Okay, lock that off. Again, it looks like crap, but that's just this stage. It'll look better in a few minutes. As soon as I tie this down, just get that out of the way. Clip off my dubbing loop excess. And I'm going to do another dubbing loop in a second, but now again, take my brush and just any of those trapped fibers, get them out of there. Even like brushing forward just to make sure I've got all of them out. Brush those back, brush those back. And you can lick your fingers a bit, just get that slicked back. Make sure all those fibers are going back. There you go. Stage 1. Next. Same thing. Repeat last step. So now I'm going to grab another nice bundle of the craft fur off this PillowCase. Again, just hold on tight. Under fur. Again, you get quite a bit of under fur out of this stuff. And like I said, you can definitely use it for dubbing. Okay, get my scissors, line up these tips, make sure they're all good. Lay it down on my table. Spread it. I could have had all this prepped prior to the video, but I wanted you guys to see in real time how long it actually takes. There you go. So again, same thing. Push down the tips. That'll lift the butt ends, and bingo bango. Back in my material clip. Same thing. Come all the way back. Really wax it. Make yourself a dubbing loop. Don't worry about all these little stragglies. They will go away. Put my dubbing spinner on, whatever kind you like using. Get that into my loop. Let it go. Put those butts down a bit. Spinny, spinny, spinny. Oh, all that work, and I dropped them. I didn't hold tight enough. I'll get them back in. Luckily, they fell as a package, so I'll have to redo my loop though. Oh well, stuff happens. Especially when you try to go too quick. Another dubbing loop. Waxy, waxy. Dubbing loop. Back forward. Spinner on, let that sit. Make sure my tips are lined again. Back in. And my mistake there was I didn't hold the back end tight enough. You got to hold like right back here, where just by the hackle. Now I tried to show you and it didn't hold. Yeah, but where the hackle stops and the thread starts there, that you have to really hold that tight. Otherwise you will lose it. Like I just lost it again because I was talking to you guys, but I will get one package. That one actually fell right down to the floor. Typical guy, can't do two things at once. Okay, spread that out. Usually when I'm not yakking and trying to show, it just only takes it's only about a 5 minute, maybe 7 minute tie. So it's not crazy long, but if you don't pay attention. So one more try without dropping it this time, hopefully. Let it go. Those tips down. Spin it a little bit. Let that spin get into the thread. There we go. Once the spin is started, then they don't usually end up falling out at all. Again, brush those out. Make sure nothing's caught. Give it another little bit of spin if you need to. Stroke this all back. Looks like crap right now. I know. It's a pretty ugly fly, to be honest, but man, when the fish are on big flies, they love this thing. Okay. Tie that off. Make sure it's tied down nice. Nip off your excess for your dubbing loop. Look at all that fur, like the under fur that came out of that one. Again, same thing. Brush, brush, brush. And it looks pretty unruly right now, but once I get it wet, you'll be surprised how this profile changes. Again, just making sure I'm getting all those, any fibers that were trapped, getting them out. I'm actually using just the tip of my brush and just pulling it through there, just making sure there's nothing trapped. I'm just going to lick my fingers just a little bit just to get that under control. Going to go right back on top of it. And then I'm going to grab that badger feather. Stripping off the fluff. I'm going to tie this in by the butt. Right on the side here, shiny side out. Stem in. Hold it over. Just make sure you got that stem really nicely tied in. Nip off that stem. Stroke back all your fibers. So nicely stroke back and wrap. It's right up against that fur. That craft fur. And I want about 5-6 wraps, something like that, depending on the feather I've got, right? Get another one out of this, maybe 2. And one more. I'm not using a hackle plier, so okay, and then tie that off. Find that tip, cut her off. And then I'm just going to add a couple of, again, stroke, just wet things so they cooperate with you. Now I'm just going to add a jungle cock eye to either side. Again, I'm going to strip off most of this fluff. So that's about what I'm left with. I'm going to lay it right along the side here. Show you once it's tied in where I've located it. Yeah, so right along the side. Hopefully you guys will probably be able to see the other side a little bit better. And these, they're just an attractor. That's all they are in this pattern, right? Actually, that's what they are in most times when jungle cock eyes are used. So I'm just gonna, it's about good right there. So this has just got a slight upwards angle to the jungle cock. There you go. And just bind that down, make sure those stay in. Nip this off. There's your butt sections. Build a bit of a head. Find your whip finishing tool that you've hid. Second set. brushing just to make sure it all lines up. And I'll take it out and I'll get it wet for you guys, and you guys can see what it looks like. Just using my saliva, but so it's not going to be perfectly wet, but I'm going to watch out that I don't hook myself. And there she is. That's the finished craft fur leech. Craft fur, yeah. Like I said, I think it's more of a leech than it is a bait fish, but I mean, you can call it a bait fish too, and those are the eyes. But that one there, I should have tied in just a little bit upwards, but like that. That's how you want it. So, but yeah, there's another one here that I tied. Okay, when they dry up, they'll kind of fluff back up again, so they're not. There we go. I'll just brush that out, and then you can see. So there's it fluffed up again, right? So yeah, they're a great pattern. They're fairly large though. They're about 2.5 inches, 3 inches long. I haven't tried them for bull trout or anything, but I could see them working for them as well. But they're really good. Like I've caught quite a few rainbow trout on this pattern. Like I said, when they're aggressive, when they're you know, going after those larger patterns, a lot of times I'll get them when they're late at night, just before dark. That's when I really like using these, and they work really well. So, alrighty, well, if you guys like that, give her a thumbs up. Keep your eyes open at craft stores and Dollaramas and Value Village and that kind of place for this kind of stuff, right? This is like I said, this is just a pillow cover. I'm going to switch it over again. It's just a pillow cover, right? That's all it is, right? And this craft fur, it's fairly long. I mean, it's probably a good 2 inches long, 2.5 inches long. This stuff. So this just happens to be one. I mean, I find all kinds of stuff at craft stores that works. So just keep your eyes open and use your imagination. Find stuff. You don't always have to buy stuff at a fly fishing shop. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can get out there that works. So actually, just give me a second. I'll show you. There's just a few other things you can find here. Like this is that I did a video a little while ago, the Faux fur leech. This stuff is phenomenal. It's super, super soft. It moves really, really well. Found this at Walmart actually in Canada. I know a couple of guys from the States went and looked for it and they couldn't find it, but it's fantastic faux fur. And then there's this stuff, right? This is a Scrubby Sparkle, it's called, from Red Heart. And this stuff is awesome. It's Palmer chenille is what it is. Let's see, can I get a piece out? Yeah, it's Palmer chenille. So, right, and it's like $5 or $6 for a ton of it. Right, you can get it in multiple colors, and then there's, like I said, there's this kind of stuff, and there's feathers that you can find at dollar stores, and so yeah, just I mean, some of the stuff's junk. You got to be careful, right? Especially with feathers and stuff. It's usually stuff you find at dollar stores and stuff. It's really low end, brittle. But this kind of stuff, the furs and stuff. So, alrighty. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, thumbs up. If you subscribe, thank you. If you haven't, consider doing so and spread the word, guys. We're gonna have some prizes coming up again once I hit 2,000 subscribers. I had a giveaway at the 1,000 mark, and a gentleman in Croatia actually won the first prize, and a gentleman in Ontario won second place. So, and I will, like I said, I'll be doing a bigger one, hopefully, with the 2,000 subscriber. I'm going to try to see if I can get some stone faux tools, some hens hooks, some Semperfli materials, that kind of stuff, and put a package together. So, all right. Thailands, everyone.